Bonjour, I'm Curtis the Dog, and this is the courtroom. Oh, thanks, Cody. You're a sweetheart.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
You can go now.
You're great. Somebody give him a treat.
Somebody give him a treat.
All right. So, yeah, this is the courtroom. I'm the fair bailiff law.
And I'm the honorable judge.
And today we are going to talk about the American League Central Division.
And I believe we're going to start off with our last place team, the Chicago White Sox.
They're
not that great.
No, they're not that great. They didn't do too much to.
They did one thing though.
Really, that much.
They got the Cuban guy Jose Abreu, except nobody knows anything about him yet. We're not going to know more until spring training.
He never played a minor league game. He's going to have to start at first base in the MLB
for 162 games, not coming in June or something. Starting.
I mean, but I think they are kind of lucky to have a backup like Paul Konerko and a backup to the backup like Adam Dunn.
It gives a safety net.
Exactly. They have a safety net, but I just don't think they're going to get it done this year. They don't have a thick pitching rotation.
Besides Chris Sale.
They don't have that great of a bullpen. They got Scott Downs. They picked him up.
They got Lindstrom still, but, kind of shaky.
I don't really think they're going to do it, especially with the other talented teams in this division. You want to move on to the fourth place team?
All right, yeah, let's move on to the fourth place team, the Minnesota Twins.
The Minnesota Twins. Let me pull them up real quick. Yeah, the Twins did something that could make them a stronger team, could put them in the race. They moved Joe Mauer from behind the plate to the constant first baseman.
So he's finally going to play 162 games, hopefully.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe. I mean, his whole career, he has topped out at playing a little bit over half the season.
Yeah, but he bats 700.
He bats like 700. He's the closest thing to 1,000 you could possibly get, but then again, he also gets like
10 at bats.
Yeah. he goes 7 for 10 for a whole season.
7 for 10 for a whole season.
Yeah, but they also picked up Kurt Suzuki to take his place behind the plate.
So they're not going to lose anything defensively.
Defensively, they're still strong behind the plate, and I think that's going to be good. They have Kevin Correa. They got Ricky Nolasco.
Yeah, but is their starting rotation really that strong? I mean, they made some minor improvements. Phil Hughes, which Phil Hughes is going to show up, is going to be the Phil Hughes that blows out people or the Phil Hughes that throws 87.
Yeah, and their bullpen isn't that strong.
They do have Glenn Perkins. He's a solid closer, but other than that, it's really nothing going on there.
But I think they're going to do better than last year, but the other three teams in the division are going to do better than the Twins are possibly going to do this year.
So maybe a 500 finish?
Maybe they'll have a strong finish, but the other three teams are just going to be so much better that fourth place is the top for the Twins.
Yeah, fourth place. That's really where I see them topping out. Not really in playoff contention this year.
No, not this year. Maybe sometime down the road when the Tigers eventually phase out of it, which I think will be pretty
soon. I mean, they're on a decline right now.
Yeah.
And
Verlander, his health catches up with him. Miguel Cabrera's health.
Yeah, he's not going to be throwing 100 for every people.
And Miguel Cabrera's not going to be a Triple Crown
winner every single year
for the rest of his career. So that's just not going to happen. But, yeah, so we have the Twins in fourth and the White Sox in fifth. Let's move on to
our third place team.
Third place team. Yeah, we're talking about the Kansas City Royals. We're giving them third place.
Third place. I mean, they're solid. They have a solid team. They could run the tables.
Yeah. It's
possible. They have a lot of young talent.
Who was it? Was it James Shields? They came out and said, hey, we're winning the World Series this year?
Yes, he said, well, he came out and said, top goal, 100% goal, World Series or bust.
And you know what? That's not an impossibility. The last four teams to win the World Series didn't make the playoffs the previous year. And the Royals didn't make the playoffs
the previous year.
Foreshadowing?
Perhaps.
But, if there's a team that's going to win the World Series with small ball, it's going to be one of the teams that can also steal bases.
Like the Kansas City Royals.
There's the Royals and there's also the Padres. We'll get to that when we get to the National League. Those are the two teams that I think, if they didn't make the playoffs last year, but if small ball is going to win a World Series, it's going to be one of those teams.
And you know what? They made one move in the offseason that I really liked. They picked up Nick Aoki, leadoff man for the Brewers last year. He's going to be solid for them. I don't know if he's going to lead off. I think they're going to stick with what they know with Alex Gordon, but I think he's going to fit in nicely to the two-hole.
I agree with that. Aoki, I mean, the Royals always are in the top three in stolen bases, and I think Aoki is definitely going to add to that.
Yeah, he's going to help.
He's going to add to that. This guy has, in his 2 years, He has. Let's see how many stolen bases this guy has.
Yeah.
He has 50 stolen bases in the past 2 years. That's going to add something to the Royals, who automatically are going to be the top.
He's going to put in that 2-hole 10 to 15 home runs and 20 to 40 stolen bases.
He's a career 287 hitter, so he'll get on base.
Yeah.
He'll get on base. He can do better. He will do better, yes, I think, with this change.
Yes, and moving from the Brewers, who aren't really a contender this year,
to a team who needs
to a young, exciting team.
Exactly. Very
with all
exciting team.
The barbecue nonsense going over there with the sauce. The special sauce.
And my thing is, if Moustakas at third base can hit for power and can get his average up, then that is going to be very key.
They're going to have 3 guys, if Moustakas can fix whatever was wrong with him last year. 3 guys that are just going to drive in runs. They got Hosmer, Butler, and then Moustakas.
You know, the long ball will be in play every single time they go out to the field.
They're one of the teams that excels in both areas of small ball and with the long ball.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to steal a bunch of bases, but they're also going to hit a lot of home runs.
You know, they could potentially win the division. I think if all cylinders are working correctly, they win the division. But that's if some players have their best seasons.
Yes. Like Moustakas has to have his best season. Escobar can't bat 230 again.
No.
And Hosmer and Butler need to produce. And Salvador Perez needs to. He was a little behind last year because of his ACL the year before, but he's got 1 year of play, and he should be firing all cylinders this year.
You know, and they picked up Jason Vargas for their starting rotation.
Yes, to add to their AL leading runs allowed last year.
Yeah, so they're going to be good, but we have them in third place because the only way that they don't get third place is if everything works perfectly.
Yes.
And we know this game of baseball. When is the last time that everything worked perfectly all season?
Never.
No team has ever had that happen before.
Maybe the 2002 Angels, but that's about it.
Maybe, but probably not. So,
right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our second place team, the Detroit Tigers.
The Detroit Tigers without Prince Fielder.
That. I mean, they only had him for 1 year?
They had him for 2.
2 years, but they lost identity with that. They had the best 3-4 combo in the game.
That was true.
And now they just, it's like...
But you know what, though? They got Ian Kinsler. And is losing Prince Fielder really going to hurt him that bad with the guy who... I don't think he's going to be up there for another Triple Crown this year.
I mean, hey, why
But he'll be in the top 5 for MVP because it's Miguel Cabrera, and that's just what he does.
But will he get his 3rd MVP in a row?
I don't think so, because Mike Trout is going to have the beastiest season that the American League has seen in a long time.
Is he going to go 50-50?
He might. The Angels are going to be. They're going to be reckoning. But yeah, and their rotation, their starting rotation is still off the hook. It's almost the exact same as last year.
Sanchez, Scherzer,
2 eyes,
Smiley, and Porcello.
That's going to be a thick rotation. Yeah, they're going to be pretty stacked. Like,
their pitching is just too good.
Seriously?
If Verlander pitches like he does in the playoffs, Scherzer has another year,
2 eyes,
another Cy Young caliber year, and then Anibal Sanchez is going to be amazing. And they brought one of my favorite players, Drew Smiley, out of the bullpen into the starting rotation. That guy was awesome in the bullpen last year. Yeah. He was just amazing. If you want to
know why Max Scherzer's nickname is 2 eyes,
because he literally has two different eyes.
Colored. Well, everybody's got 2 different eyes, but he has 2 different colored eyes.
They're 2 different colors.
He has a blue eye and a brown eye. That's why he's good old 2 eyes. He kind of looks like
it's kind of funky.
Psychopath.
Just a little bit.
But yeah, so yeah, they're gonna have a 6 starting rotation. Torrey Hunter still plays baseball for the Tigers.
They finally have a closer. They got Joe Nathan. Much improvement over what they were throwing out last year. And they also have Al Albuquerque in the bullpen. If the Tigers are smart enough to put him into an important role.
Is that Jabba? Do they have Jabba?
They have Jabba Chamberlain as well.
Jabba the Hutt Chamberlain.
Jabba the Hutt Chamberlain.
When did they get him?
I don't know.
That's Jabba. Okay. They have Jabba too. I didn't even know that.
Well... So they have a great team, but second place, and if they get into the playoffs, it's going to be through the wild card.
Very much through the wild card, because the first place team in the Central this year
is the Cleveland Indians.
It's the Cleveland Indians. They're gonna kill it this year.
They are.
They are.
They showed what they can do at the end of last season, getting hot and getting into the playoffs through the wild card. Mm-hmm. And they have a sick starting staff. They have they lost some players in the bullpen. They no longer have Chris Perez, and they no longer have Joe Smith. He was at the Angels. He went to the Angels. Mm-hmm. But they did get Jonathan Axford.
Axford's okay.
He blows a lot of saves.
But
they also have...
Is he really going to have the chance to blow a save when he's going to be at the edge of the save opportunity? Yeah, literally, they will be up by like 4 runs. 4 runs. They'll be like this. Here, Axford, we're going to let you come into the game. We're up by 5. Don't blow it. And then he'll get the save because they'll be up by 1 at the end of the game.
Yeah. And they also have Zemchensky. And they also
There's
have
a silent R in the front.
Zemchensky. And he's a good reliever. He came over from Toronto. They also have Vinny Pestana. And he is a great pitcher. I think they should give the closing job to him. I think if they're still fighting for it, but I think if he comes out on top, the Indians are a better team.
I think if he does end up the closer, Axford would be a fantastic setup man because you have less pressure.
Yes,
I mean,
also
definitely still have.
He
did
good. He did good in the setup role last year.
Exactly.
And let's talk about the hitting a little bit.
Oof.
They still have Kipnis. They still have Asdrubal Cabrera. They
still got Swish.
They have Yan Gomez now as the catcher, and that allows
Carlos Santana. With Carlos Santana, he's going to be their designated hitter all the time.
He's not going to get hurt. He's going to play 162 games, and he can play first if they want.
See, I think in the Central they made 2 great moves to put the catcher, who are also very good hitters.
Stellar hitters.
Yeah, with Joe Mauer from the Twins and Carlos Santana from the Indians, put them into roles where they can use their bat for 75 to 100% of the season.
And if you look at their outfield, on top of having 3 great stars in the outfield, they have backups. They have deep
backups.
They've got Ryan Rayburn, a backup. They also
have somewhere in there.
They have Niger Morgan too, and they also have Jeff Francoeur.
Jeff Francoeur, a wily veteran.
Yes, that's just a backup. Now let's talk about the starters. They picked up David Murphy from Texas last year. You saw what happened when they gave him a full-time role.
Yeah.
He performed.
Yeah.
They also have Michael Bourne, who's going to steal 700 bases.
He's going to steal all the bases, and he's going to hit. High 200.
Yeah. He's going to be a good leadoff second guy because they have Kipnis that leads off.
Okay, yeah, Kipnis, yeah. So Michael Bourne, he's going to get on base and he's going to steal the bases, all of them,
and then,
all the time.
And then Asdrubal and Swisher and Santana's going to come up.
Jesus, I think they're going to rock it. They're going to rock it.
Oh, and look, they also have Mike Aviles as another. They are just deep. They have a lot of depth to that team, and even if it gets plagued by injuries, they have backups that can come in and
backups, and they have backups for their backups.
Yes.
That's why we put the Indians in first place, because they have depth. And in a 162-game season, you need depth. So that is the American League Central for you. I am the Fair Bailiff Law.
I'm the Honorable Judge, and court is adjourned.